The failures and successes of the Oregon, UCLA and Florida State football programs will be constantly compared and contrasted in the upcoming years given the connective tissue of the coaches involved. After the first weekend of football that saw all three programs take the field, Oregon's Mario Cristobal is the only coach sitting at 1-0 following a 58-24 win over Bowling Green on Saturday at Autzen Stadium. While the first outings for two coaches that chose not to work at Oregon went painfully sideways, Chip Kelly's UCLA Bruins lost 26-17 on Saturday at home to a Cincinnati team that went 4-8 last season. Willie Taggart's previously number 19 ranked Florida State Seminoles looked painfully out of sorts on offense Monday night while losing 23-3 at home to No. 20 Virginia Tech in front of a national audience. That both Kelly and Taggart made their names as offensive maestros makes the way each lost that much more interesting and alarming. Their teams combined for 20 points. At home, both averaged 40-plus per game at Oregon with healthy starting quarterbacks on the field. Tough loss, Taggart told reporters following his team's 5-turnover performance. Not what anyone expected, said Kelly on Saturday. Just too many mistakes. We knew going in we were young. So what does any of this mean? Well, according to many on Twitter, Taggart, now 47-51 as a head coach, is overrated and will certainly run FSU into the ground. He can't coach offense and he's a fraud. Of course, that ignores his top 10 offense at South Florida in 2016 and the fact that Oregon last season averaged 50 points per game with a healthy Justin Herbert in the lineup. Kelly, who had 4 years of dominance with the Ducks, has been given a little bit more leeway. Still, given that he once was tabbed with the "genius" label, the reviews of his first outing in Los Angeles weren't kind. Of course, it's unfair to judge any coach by even a handful of games, let alone just one. That rationale, however, won't ever stop those with access to social media to fire off a quick zinger at the expense of a millionaire coach. And if you're a Ducks fan, it makes perfect sense to feel a sense of satisfaction watching two men fail after both said no to Oregon. Kelly wouldn't, and shouldn't, ever return to Oregon. He knew he had exhausted all he could out of the Ducks when he left for the NFL following the 2012 season. Returning to Eugene after failing at 2 NFL stops would be a sign of his career sliding backward. Taggart took over for Helfrich and infused some energy into the Ducks program while taking UO's recruiting to new heights. Then, his dream job opened up and he couldn't resist, so he left Oregon after one season, leaving behind many bitter fans. The truth is that both Kelly and Taggart are in better situations. Each resides in a state filled with elite-level talent just beyond the doorsteps of their respective programs. If either had returned Oregon to national prominence, he certainly would have done the same at UCLA and Florida State. In many ways, Cristobal is UO's consolation prize. He must live up to not only the grand expectations surrounding Oregon based on an era of excellence far in the rearview mirror, but he also must coach knowing that most of the fan base wanted Kelly to return or Taggart to remain. That's a lot of pressure to contend with. So far, Cristobal leads this race, 1-0, but don't become too giddy just yet. Kelly was never the coaching god many Oregon fans made him out to be. He was in the right place at the right time during his years at Oregon when the pack -10/12 was far weaker, and USC and Washington were down. Still, Kelly is a very good coach and motivator, and he will have success at UCLA after he turns around what amounts to somewhat of a rebuilding project. As for Taggart, he will soon be loaded with as much talent as he could ever want at FSU. Chances are that he will win far more games than not. But he has far more to lose by failing at FSU than Kelly does at UCLA. Taggart has never won a bowl game or a conference title, yet he has taken over one of the most coveted jobs in the country. Coaches recently voted him the most overrated coach in the country. He did nothing to disprove that belief on Monday. The tale of these three connected coaches won't be complete for a few years. All three are in good places with great opportunities for success. After one weekend, Oregon fans should feel good about Cristobal while also recognizing that the Ducks whipped a weak Bowling Green team. They should also snicker at both Kelly's and Taggart's first game failures while also realizing that the very reasons you wanted them at Oregon will likely make them both successful in their new jobs.